Hello. In my introductory presentation, I introduced the idea that GIS can be a valuable tool in helping to track and prevent the spread of a pandemic. GIS can be used to help locate vulnerable populations, areas of higher risk that need a little bit more attention than, say, a very rural area with not that many people. The question I want to answer is, how exactly do we do that? Well, I can tell you how I view it. I view a pandemic just like I view a tornado, a hurricane, a tsunami, an earthquake, a natural disaster, because there's very little that we can do to stop it. We can take precautions, but to actually stop it, there's a lot more that goes into that. So, first off, I want to ask, what can the world getting more organized and how we react to these diseases that just pop up, what can that accomplish? I could say that having a warning system, much like a warning system for tornadoes, would be a great way to help prevent the spread. On that note, the best way I can describe this is describe the warning system for, say, tornadoes. In the 1960s, the NOAA devised a plan to use old warning sirens from wartime that used to signify that there was attack coming, to signify that there was a tornado that had touched down. Later on, they went to storm based systems, meaning there was a storm coming and they could track the storm, they could watch the storm, they can warn people ahead of time that there is a storm, be prepared. And as technology advanced, they got to the point where they could basically predict that there is going to be a tornado. Um, they could give 3, 4, 5 minute warnings. Um, they would send out news bulletins saying that there is a watch in effect. As technology advanced, it got easier to put that information out there through text messages, news bulletins, um, a national warning system where a text message pops up on your phone that says there is a tornado in your area. Now, I do understand that a disease is not a tornado. Obviously, the logistics of it would be different. Instead of using meteorical data, you would use um, data from other sources, such as the U.S. Census Bureau. I want to read this statement that was provided by the NOAA. It states, to be effective, early warning systems for natural hazards needs to have not only sound scientific and technical basis, but also a strong focus on the people exposed to the risk. Now, this is not the entire quote, but I think that is very important to note that through anything that happens, to protect life is one of the most important things that we can do. Leading into that, what is GIS? GIS stands for Geographic Information Systems. It's a computer based software that takes spatial data, which is data from all over the world, and integrates it into a program using mapping and 3 dimensional scenes. Okay, you can take demographic data from the U.S. Census Bureau on populations in, say, McMinn County, Tennessee. You can use that to figure out what areas have a higher population of geriatric people or elderly people, um, higher areas of kids. There's so many resources of different kinds of information that you can literally create a map of anything. And when you think of tracking something, you think geography. You're going into the woods, you think, okay, I need to use a GPS to figure out exactly where I am, make sure I don't get lost. Tracking uses geography. Tracking diseases, where they will go, what paths they would take, uses geography. And the beautiful thing about GIS is that it is available to so many people. So many people can view these maps that are created. And hundreds of thousands of organizations use GIS every day. They use it to solve problems, to figure out where they want to plan their next development, urban development, healthcare. It's used all over the world. But is it foolproof? Well, the answer to that is no. Just like with any prediction-based technology, there is always a margin of error. There is always something that could be wrong, but that is why margin of error was created. Some of the things that could go wrong, everybody knows the decennial census is only taken every 10 years. And then the American survey is taken, I think it was every 2 years. But that's a smaller population. It's not the entire population. People die every day. People move every day. People change their lives every day. So obviously there is a sense, or there could be many things that could happen. The overall general census is that getting organized is paramount to saving lives. During this pandemic, the government has taken on the role of helping everybody as a whole. And it hasn't really worked. There have been many more deaths than there should have been. Many more getting sick. People looking at it in terms of my rights are being taken away. All of these fears, all of these things that have gone on have been completely valid at some point to somebody. A better way to approach it, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, would be to look at it in terms of where are people who can easily get sick located. It doesn't have to be their exact address. I understand that there is a sense of privacy that needs to be kept, but where are these people located? And how can we get this information to the hospital so they know there is a higher chance of an outbreak in this area? Have PPE, have beds available, respirators, meds, anything that's needed. And that's what organizing can do. And GIS is a growing field. It will continue to grow as technology grows. It uses satellite images, aerial images, anything that you can think of. You can create data. You can put it in a wrapped box and say, here, this is exactly the information that you need to know. It would be an absolute amazing addition to everything that we have already. And with that, I want to leave you with this quote from Esri. Esri states, and Esri is the end-all be-all GIS website. You can learn from it, you can get information from it, data, you can get anything you need from Esri. Esri states on their website that hundreds of thousands of organizations in virtually every field are using GIS to make maps that communicate, perform analysis, share information, and solve complex problems around the world. This is changing the way the world works. And this is a sentiment that I wholeheartedly agree with. I find value in it because as technology advances, so should we. And the applications for GIS are boundless. It's definitely worth a second look.